Then we'll do policy based routing. So for this we'll do a lab topology changes. Before that, what is the use of ECMP? Suppose you have one particular device or router or a firewall. It has multiple ISP links, ISP1 and ISP2. Okay, it's connected to internet. Now you have two links and you want to utilize these both links equally. So what you can do, you can enable ECMP with a static route. So what happens, traffic, whenever the traffic comes from a LAN side, traffic is coming from a LAN side and destination is a internet, Google or a Facebook. Google. So what happens, traffic, 50% traffic will be going from ISP1 and 50% traffic will be going from ISP2. So we can do this type of load balancing when we have ECMP configured on our firewall. So ECMP is supported on Fortigate, but it is not supported on Cisco devices. Okay, until you have a EIGRP on a Cisco which supports ECMP. On a Cisco, no other routing protocol or apart from BGP and EIGRP, static route OSPF or RIP will not support ECMP in Cisco. And the Cisco firewall will also not support ECMP. Okay, so that is that clear? What is the use of ECMP? Then we'll move to lab. In Fortigate, we have multiple types of multiple options to do ECMP. Let me show you. If I okay, see if you go through lab document, you will get like default settings for whatever settings we have in ECMP. You will get in a lab document also. Like see default we have like 255 routes allowed for ECMP. Suppose if you have a firewall, you have three ISP links. Okay, okay, you one, two, and three. But all three are having equal cost. This is also having like cost 10, 10, and 10. But in your settings, you change the ECMP limit to 2. Then only two paths will be selected and one path will be alternative based on our configuration. But the default ECMP limit is 255. And if you put it to like 0, then there is no ECMP configured and only one path will be selected. Okay, you will find this in a lab document also. The lowest value of 1 will be like equivalent to disabling a ECMP. Then we have multiple options. See, this is a configuration like how to do ECMP max path configuration. The default is 255. If you want to modify like I want only two links as a ECMP and apart from two links there should not be any load balancing happening, we can do it. We can do this. Then we have option that what type of load balancing you want to do in ECMP. Either you want to do source based, weight based, usage based, or source and destination both. See, source based when we select a source based, what happens? We will go with this particular diagram. When we have source based configured, traffic for this particular source will always be taking one particular link. whatever the destination it is going. When the traffic comes from another source, it will take another link. I'm not saying, suppose in this particular VLAN we have another source like 10.20, then it may take this particular link. This particular 10.10 will be taking link 1, 10.20 will be taking link 2, 20.20 may be taking link 2, but 20.20 may be taking link 1. It will be decided by default from a firewall itself. But when you have source and destination based traffic, so what happens when we decide the source and destination based traffic, with firewall what it will do, this particular source and this particular destination always go from link 1, then this particular source and this particular destination always go from link 2. When we have this particular source and this particular destination, 10.10 and 200.20 go from a link 2 or link 1. This type of options we can do with when we have source and destination both load balance. Okay, when we have only source, load balancing will happen only based on source IP. Is it clear? When we have usage based or weight based, it will neither check a source nor check a destination. It will check how much weight or usage this particular links are having, and it will do load balancing based on that particular links. Okay, is it clear? When you do usage based configuration, you need to define, whenever suppose, see, mostly load balancing we will do for WAN interface only. We will never do load balancing for LAN interfaces, right? So whenever you have usage based configuration, you need to define that particular link is having how much bandwidth capacity. You can do it on an interface, WAN interface. You see there is an option that estimated bandwidth, and if usage is going beyond that bandwidth, then the traffic will go to another link. We have this type of options when we have usage based. See, the interface is used until the traffic bandwidth exceeds the increase and decrease threshold that you set on the interface. Additional traffic is then sent through the next interface available. Okay, so we can do this type of configurations when we have source based or destination based or weighted based. Mostly we prefer, and Fortigate prefers source based or source and destination based. Okay, weighted based and usage based we will not be able to, we can do it, but will not, the traffic is not going like equally load balancing. When you do usage based, until that particular link is having a total usage exist, you cannot, traffic will not be going from another link, and another link is getting we are not able to use another link, right? So we'll not do this. You have, but you have an option to do this, and this is a command to configure, like configure system settings, then set a version for ECMP mode, then you can decide what, on what basis you want to do ECMP traffic. Okay, so now we will do a lab for ECMP. Before we start lab, we will need to remove all the old configurations, routing and policies, and we'll modify lab topology as well. Let me modify lab topology and we'll again come back. Now we'll see branch 2 configuration. So IP interface brief. We have two interfaces. E0/0 is going towards firewall, 0/2 towards branch 3. So IP route. We have two static routes towards branch 3. Okay. That's okay. Now we will see our branch 3. Show IP interface brief. E0/0 towards branch router, 0/1 towards branch 2, and we have two loopback configured to do our testing. Show IP route. We should have two static routes. One is 10.1.1.0, one is 10.2.1.0. See, we have these two static routes because hold on, 1 minute, hold on. From this particular switch, we have two static routes for this. Whenever traffic comes from a firewall, fire traffic will come from 10.1.1.1, which is a firewall IP. Whenever traffic comes from this side, 10.2.1.1, and this particular router is not aware about this particular routes, right? So we have done two static routes of 10.1.1.0 towards this interface, and 2.1.0 towards this particular interface. 2.1.0 is going via this, and 1.1.0 is going via this from this particular branch 3 router. Okay. We have two more static routes. On this particular router, we have 100.100 towards this particular interface 2.2, and 200.200 also towards this particular interface 2.2 only, and similar routes we have on this router towards this particular interface. Okay, so whenever the traffic from a firewall comes to this particular routers, they should be aware about this particular routes, and they will forward the traffic to branch 3. Okay, on a firewall anyhow we are doing a default route towards the branch routers. Okay, so let's check again. On branch 3 also we have static routes. Okay, now I think on a branch router we don't have static routes towards that IP route. Yes, so we'll do static routes IP route state.100.100 10.0. What is the next hop IP? 10.1.2.1. Same 200.200. Okay, let me try to ping this particular IPs now. 100.100. Okay, 200.200. Okay, from branch 2, am I able to ping this particular? See, I tried to ping from branch router. I tried to ping from branch 2. If I am able to ping that particular routers, particular loopback. Mm-hmm. 200.200. Okay, from a branch, between a branches I have all communication enabled now, so we will focus on now firewall and switch configuration. From a switch, do I have a default route enable? Show IP route. Okay, from a switch also I have default route enabled. Now we will focus on firewall configuration. So what we need to do on a firewall? If you go to lab document, configure router as per new topology, configure firewall new interface as per new topology. configure static routes towards branch router and branch to router. So let's do interface configuration now. We need, see, already port 2 is configured, we need to do port 3 configuration. Go to interfaces, port 3, edit, should be WAN BR2, IP address should be, let's see in the topology what should be IP address, 10.2.1.1. 24. We will enable ping in this particular interface. Comments connected to BR2. Okay. After we do branch router, this interfaces configuration, we need to do two static routes, two default routes towards branch 1 and branch 2. 10.1.1.2 towards branch interface. Then one more default route 10.2.1.2 towards BR2. Now if you see on a firewall, we have two static routes and both will be available in our firewall routing table. Get router info, routing table all. See, two static routes and both are active in our table now, in our routing table. Okay, so even same thing you can see from a GUI as well. If you go to dashboard, network, if you go to a routing, don't want policy static and dynamic routes, so we can see what all routes are active now. See, same distance available, so we can see both are static and three are connected. We have two more static routes which is towards our LAN route, LAN devices. Okay, so we have now two routes available. We have one command to check on what basis the, see, currently ECMP is happening on what basis. If you do diagnose system VD list, you will get to know. That should be a command, diagnose system VD list. List. Okay. Now see, you see ECMP is equal to, currently it is happening from a source IP based, which is default behavior. Default ECMP will be happening on a source IP based. Okay, so let me initiate a traffic from this particular VLAN 10 and see traffic is going from which path. But before that, we should have a policy configured, right? Policies and object firewall policies. Let me remove all these policies. We'll do two new policies. Incoming interface LAN, outgoing interface branch interface, source, both the source VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, destination, both the destination, hundred. Then do we have 200 configured? We will create a 200. One 92, 168, 200.200 slash 32. Okay. So what is happening? Source is a VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Destination is loopback interfaces, and we will be allowing a NAT from outgoing interface. Service as of now is all. Okay. Then do all sessions output. Okay. So now the traffic, when the traffic is coming from, so now what happened? Traffic is initiated from this particular PC. It will go to this particular port. It is allowed now, but we don't have policy from this route, this interface. So we will do one more policy, same policy to this particular port. Okay. We can do a policy copy, and we just need to do an interface change. Okay. Paste below. Only changing is a interface. Everything will be similar. 1 minute. We should have particular interface 100. It is bind to that particular BR back 192 168 100.100 slash 32. Okay. Okay. Everything is similar, but whenever you do a policy copy paste, you need to enable a policy. Remember that it will be disabled by default, and you need to enable that particular policy. This we will do LAN BR1. Okay, so now we have policy, we have routing, everything available. We need to do a testing now. Before we do a test, we'll enable a debug on branch 3 to check if the traffic is coming from particular source. It is coming from which interface. Let me do it first from VLAN 10 ping 100.100. Okay, on debug all. Let's see. We will copy this in our notepad and see when the traffic came from VLAN 10, it came from which interface. Copy, and let me remove this now. Okay, so now source is 2.1, destination is 100.100. 2.1 is what? 2.1 is port 3. Okay, so all traffics, all port, all ping came from same interface. Yeah, again source is this, destination is this, source is this, destination is this. Okay. Yeah, so when the traffic came from VLAN 10, it came from port 3. Now we will do a ping from VLAN 20 and we'll see. Okay, sorry, I disabled the ping debug. I did not enable this time. Let me again do a debug. Again we'll do okay. Let me copy now again this. Now let me open a notepad again. Now when the traffic came from VLAN 20, it came from what interface? Came from 10.1.1.1, 10.1.1.1, 10.1.1.1. So which means whenever the traffic is coming from, when the traffic is initiating from this interface, it is going to port 3, and when the traffic is coming from this interface, it is going from port 2, which means we are utilizing both the links. So we are utilizing this link, we are utilizing this link for 100.100. Now we will try for 200.200 and we'll see if what is happening. Okay, let me do a initiate a ping from VLAN 10 towards 200.200 and we'll see what is happening. Sorry. Okay, so now traffic came from, again came from port 3 only, and the destination is this. You see 2.1.1 is our port 3, correct? See 2.1.1 is our port 3, which is branch 2. So traffic came for 2.1.1 via port 3. Now let me try to ping from VLAN 20 200.200. Okay, stop pinging. Okay, now again traffic came from 1.1, which is our port 2. So that's how we are doing ECMP, and we are utilizing both the links, link 2 and link 3, when we are doing ECMP. But traffic for particular source will take particular link. See, this particular source will always utilize this link, and this particular source will utilize this particular link, because in our ECMP configuration we have source IP based. Whatever the destination, it may be, it is Google or whatever it is, we are using source IP based. So traffic for particular source will take particular link. When we have ECMP with source as well as destination, then the scenarios will different. Okay, we will try one more scenario with ECMP with source and destination IP. We'll see what happens after that. So let us do that now on our firewall. So if you want to do source and destination based configuration, go to config system settings. Sorry. Set v4, sorry, ECMP mode, and we will do source and destination IP based. Okay, so previously what was happening, we will check source 10.10, destination 100.100. It is going from port 3, then again source 10.10, destination 200.200. It is going from port 3. Source 20.20, destination 100.100. It is going from port 2. Source 20.20, destination 200.200 going from port 2. See, one port, it is one source, it is taking one particular exit interface. But now we will do source and IP based load balancing, and we'll compare a scenario for this. Okay, so this is configured, and this, okay, that's the only command you can do. Now again, debug is enabled default. Okay, now we will try again ping from one particular VLAN. Now 100. Okay, 3 pings for a source 100, source 10.10, destination 100.100. It is coming from port 3. Now let me change source to 100 and we'll see. Still it is coming from port 3 only, so it should change in couple of minutes actually. We will try with this particular VLAN now. Hundred dot hundred. It came from port 1. 200.200. Still source and IP based is not happening because I think old sessions are available. I think. See. Log report forward traffic. Source is this, destination is this. It is going from